Welcome back to the Iron Insight. Thank you for starting your week off right with the Iron Insight every Monday morning at 4 a.m. I'm one of your hosts, Bryn Welds,
And I am the co-host, Andrew Nichols.
and today we're joined by Johnny Snyder. How's it going?
Going well. How you guys doing?
Good.
Oh, doing all right.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been this week flew by. I mean,
Yes.
I don't even know. Ever since I graduated like high school and college, it's 2 years since high school, 1 year since college now. It's just flying by. It's all a blur.
Gets faster and faster.
Right.
Great. Thanks for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I'd imagine once you have a family and stuff, it probably does go fast.
It does. It feels like it's going really slow, and then when you look back on it, you're like, oh wait, how did that go by so quick? It doesn't make much sense, but you'll know when you do.
What about since you
When you're
started
there.
your business? When did you start your business?
I started that in 2019, somewhere around there. That's gone by very quick too.
Well, I guess
Yeah,
I should say your welding business. We'll get into
yeah,
your
yeah.
other-
2019 is when I went full time. So I started welding in 2016. And then 2019 is when I started welding for myself full time.
I got you.
And that actually started. I actually was trying to get a job at a weld shop. I've never worked at a weld shop before. I was trying to get a job. Like I went back to school. I got my certifications, and I was trying to apply at like all the places around here in the Pittsburgh area. And a lot of places either wanted like a lot of experience, or they wanted to pay like $10 an hour.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, I don't have experience, so, and I'm not taking $10 an hour. So, long story short, ended up working for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That when I was going through some of your posts, like I saw a really slick stick weld from welding school, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
man, now that I think about it, I don't think I've seen Johnny stick weld.
No, so pretty much in school, I did a little bit of stick welding, like some mobile work and things like that. And then as soon as I started doing my own work, it was all MIG. It was like just, it was easier. It's faster, cleaner.
Yeah. So what kind of work were you starting off with when you first started your business?
Um, Pretty much anything
Whatever
broken,
came in.
anything. Yeah, anything. It's pretty much the same I'm doing now for the most part. Broken lawn chairs,
Absolutely.
lawnmower. I don't know, kind of anything they throw at me.
But that's what builds your clientele. I mean, over time,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've gained some repeat customers because of that.
Definitely. And actually, I got a couple now that are like probably monthly. I'll pick up like a pallet of parts. I'll bring it back to the shop, weld them all out, and then drop them back off.
Hmm.
So those are my bread and butter right there.
And what's your main way to network, especially when you were starting your business? How'd you get your name out there?
Social media, obviously. Instagram was a big one, but I actually went and met a lot of the local businesses. I stopped in, met the owners, gave business cards. I think that was a big start because I got my name out there. They saw that I physically have, I'm capable of driving to their location, or I'm capable of doing the work. Meeting them in person was big. Dropping off business cards at local businesses and things like that was a huge help. Just, meeting people.
Was recently you did a pretty large project. It was for, I think, some apartments. It was the great kind of deal that you would put
Oh,
over
yeah.
like window wells. Was that one of
Yeah.
the biggest projects you worked on full time
Yeah.
for yourself?
Yeah. So physically the biggest. It's only just me and my shop. So they were 10 feet wide, about like 8 feet long. It's all like square tubing and angle, and then the grate on top, like with expanded metal. So I don't even know how I did it, to tell you the truth. Like my shop is so small, I had to like maneuver them around and then lift them. It probably almost crushed me a couple times, but somehow I got it done. I just figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking back on it now, I don't know how I actually accomplished it, but
Were those powder coated or?
no. So they just were raw metal. I asked the customer, I said, you want me to at least paint them? Out of all of them, I said I would paint it for $200. That includes the paint and everything. I just wanted to make sure that they were finished, and I really didn't want to make much money on it. They're like, nah, we'll have one of our groundskeeper do it. They're still not painted. So that's all right.
A lot of the time you're doing art, is the end goal art, metal art?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I'm basically welding and fabricating so I can have time and equipment to be able to make art.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, when I was going back through some of your posts over social media, you were doing robots like a long time ago. You've been doing it for
Yeah.
a long time. Robots.
So that's
has
what I
always been
started
your-
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started out at, like, I'll look through just like a pile of scrap metal, and like to me they just all match together. I'll be like, oh, this is a good head to a robot. Like, oh, this is a good body. It just all kind of connects together.
Huh.
So
And
yeah.
how many years have you done a Scrap Fest? For those who don't know what Scrap Fest is,
Oh yeah.
first
Yeah.
we should give them a little rundown on it.
Yeah. So just to answer your question before I forget, this is my third year that we're going into my third year of Scrap Fest. For those of you who do not know, Scrap Fest is a metal art competition in Old Town Lansing, Michigan. And all of the artists basically 2 months prior to the event, they meet. We actually just went through this. We meet at a scrapyard, and we have all the teams have 1 hour to collect all of the material that we're going to need for our sculpture. So you don't know what you're going to get. It's kind of like a first come, first serve supermarket sweep. You just all rush in the field with a cart and grabbing what you need for your sculpture. So you may not get what you need too. So you'll have to figure it out how to make pieces work. And then the artists have 1 month to create a sculpture and then drop it back off in Lansing, Michigan. And then they spend a little bit of time photographing and taking some videos of each art piece. And then there's an actual event of Scrap Fest where they block off the street and display all the art pieces. They get judged, and there's a winner and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's super cool, and it's a cool guy that runs it too. I was able to meet him because of you in Chicago this year. What's it, Mike?
Mike Bass, yeah.
Mike
Mike
Bass.
and Heather.
Oh, okay. I remember.
Yeah.
How do I forget Bass? Mike Bass music is what comes to mind because he does music too. When I follow him, and he's pretty good.
Yeah, he does some cool stuff.
So last year you collabed with Beeve for what's his name?
So his name's Mike Beaver, or on Instagram would be like Bees Fab Lab.
Yeah, that's right. Beeve
Yeah,
Fab.
so
you
that
guys
was
did. What was the name of that one?
Merging Frontiers. So
Merging
it was
Frontiers,
basically back to back, was half robot, half skeleton. I obviously like making the robots, and Mike is really good at making the skeletons. So it was an interesting. I think this was the first. First of all, it's the largest art piece I've ever done, and the only time I've really worked with an artist, like a collaborator, 50-50 on an art piece.
Yeah, it was.
So,
it turned out great.
Thank you. Yeah, so, we were both ecstatic about it. Like, that's exactly what we kind of imagined how it would work, and it turned out just like we thought.
Yeah, you got lucky. You got a lot of panels out of what you grabbed. What's some of the what's one of the oddest things that you've found throughout your scrap hunt for Scrap Fest?
Oddest. Well, actually, this last Scrap Fest, or a couple weeks ago when we were down there, I found like a disc. It looks like it goes to an old computer, like a floppy disk kind of drive looking thing. It was like buried underneath stuff. It was a purple. I got some stuff posted on my Instagram about it, but basically it was like some sort of memory drive. I got it. I brought it back to the shop. I took it all apart. And there was a spring in there. I'm like, oh, okay, all that work just for a little spring, but that was probably the most random thing I found at the
You got a screw
scrapyard.
too, I think, right?
A couple screws came out of it. Yep.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
video.
There's just like, they spread out so much stuff at the scrapyard for Scrapfest. I mean, it's literally like just the junkiest stuff you could think of. And then there's also like stainless steel, aluminum, and like, nicer, finer metals to be able to pick from as well. So you kind of have a wide variety of everything. And I try to look for a little bit of both, like the messed up, just junk scrap metal, because you never know what you're going to pull from there. And then also got like some really nice stainless steel sheets that I'm going to be cutting out sometime this week.
You've been a big part in getting the name out there for Scrap Fest. I mean, like, I think you were the one, probably the main reason that Weld.com came out there last year and did a whole video on it. And then, I mean, because otherwise without you, I wouldn't know what it is. Andrew wouldn't know what it is. I mean, a lot of us.
Yeah, it's very small. Like, it really started out as a handful of artists just doing it in their local area. And then the year before I did it, the furthest one was Chicago. And then the following year, when I first started, I was the furthest in Pittsburgh. And then the year after that was the furthest was Texas. So this year, I have no idea what the furthest drive is. I'm not sure, but it definitely is branching out. And I think having the opportunity to make some videos about it and post it to the Edge YouTube channel, that really helped kind of get it out to a lot more people than my reach, and then have more people see it and kind of say, oh, what's this? Metal art competition. There's not a lot of those around. Not like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish we had something like that local here.
Yeah, I
that'd be
think every city, or at least every state, should have something like this. Like it's cool. It's community building. I mean, if we're willing to travel from Pittsburgh to Lansing and Texas to Lansing and Chicago, then I don't see why every state can do it.
Yeah, and especially here
Get on it.
in Grand Island, Nebraska, we have a sculpture walk downtown. They call it Railside, is what they call downtown, and there's sculptures all over. People can enter, and then while they're up for 1 year, it's every year they get changed out, and while they're up for that year, they kind of market the selling of it for the artist. So I wonder.
They're already almost doing it.
That. Yeah.
It's already almost there. Just minus the competition part, like how you get the material, and that's kind of where it becomes really tricky. There are a lot of good artists out there, but if you're only allowed to use what you get from the scrapyard, you can only make so much stuff with it. So it's a huge challenge. And every year that I do this, I learn how to manipulate metal into making it do what you want it to do, versus just buying something already kind of made.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And speaking of Edge and the hat you're wearing.
Oh, gotta rip it.
When did you get on the Edge Army for Edge Welding Cups?
So that was a couple years ago. I forget the exact time, but yeah, it's been a couple years. Pretty cool. Like, that's always awesome, getting on a team like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's really family oriented. Like, it just feels homey.
Yeah.
Just the group. They're so understanding, Stacia and Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Were you using their products before?
Yeah. So I used their cups before, not a ton before that. I don't do like, it's mostly MIG welding, and then TIG welding is like secondary.
Right.
A lot of the stuff that I weld is dirty and old oxidized aluminum and stuff like that. So, but yeah, prior to that, I actually went down there before getting on the Edge Army. I went down to North Carolina and I met them. I did like a tour of the warehouse and stuff like that. So it was cool meeting them, hanging out, doing that kind of stuff, using their product, chatting with them, plus just tagging them a ton,
Yeah. It's funny that you primarily MIG weld now, because on November 16th, 2017, you put a Facebook post out, and it was your first time TIG welding, and you said, "I'm hooked," is what you said.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a very cool process, and it takes a lot of prep and a lot of cleaning to be able to get it ready. So when you weld it, it's like nice and smooth. Otherwise, it's just terrible. If you have like dirty, Yeah. But yeah, I basically learned my buddy Anthony. He kind of was pushing me towards the TIG side, like just like in the beginning of welding, and we would go weld in his kitchen. We'd just be sitting in his kitchen TIG welding. He had like I think an AHP at the time, if I remember right. And we would just be TIG welding on his kitchen table. Probably ruined his table, but that's all right.
AHP is owned by the same owner of Everlast. I don't know if you knew
Yeah.
that.
I want to say that I knew that, or at least I noticed some similarities with some things.
Yeah.
Are they still around?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they sell. In my opinion, I think that AHP gets the designs of previous Everlast designs and marks down. So I think that's how that kind of works.
Kind of work together a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about Edge a little bit. When did JonnySWeld come about?
That came about late last year. I have met Frankie, who is like kind of the front man for JonnySWeld, like on their social media. He manages all their social media stuff. I met him at FabTech like 2 years in a row, and used some of their products and got to know him pretty well, like messaging. If I had questions about a product, then I would just message him directly, like, hey, how am I using this wrong, or what's wrong with this? So we got to know each other, and I guess when they were starting a team, they decided to, reach out to a couple people, and I just happened to be one of them. So pretty cool getting on their team and
Yeah, you got to go down there and see their warehouse and plant and stuff.
Yeah, now that is an operation. That giant warehouse, it is all made, or most of their stuff is made there. I'm sure there's some stuff not, but when you see all like the little sections of each person making each part or installing a part, it's crazy. Like it's tons of people, tons of parts. They're testing torch tips. They're testing everything. Like it's a wild operation what they have going on down there. So definitely made in USA, and I can attest to that. Yeah, it's crazy.
I saw a video that, as Bob Moffat would say, Brian Logalio. He always has to sing. He always has to sing.
I heard that on the past
Brian's name. Yeah,
past podcast. Yeah,
there was a podcast he was on. It was Jason Becker's Arc Junkies podcast from like 2019 or something, a while ago, and even then he said Brian Logalio.
Can't help it.
Yeah, but anyways, Brian Bingo _welding on Instagram. He
cool dude.
He posted a video, like even the paper that goes, or paper or cardboard or plastic, whatever it is, inside of the regulator that has your CFH and your numbers and all that. He even had that it was made there in Florida, and like a video of them installing it and stuff. It's crazy.
Like when you think of all the stuff that they make there, I mean, they literally have a printing department where they're screen printing those, like those aluminum plates or whatever they're made on. And then that dries, goes to another section where they're punching them out, punching out circles. And then it goes to the people who are actually physically assembling, regulators and things like that. It is a lot of it. Like, it seems like anything they can do in house, they do. And I think for a while there, they were making their own boxes. Like they would get rolls of cardboard and then cut them and fold them to make.
Jeez,
I don't know
that's
if they're
crazy.
still doing that, but yeah,
little things like that you don't even think about how they're made.
No.
Like the paper inside of your regulator or whatever.
They went all out.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Frankie's a really good guy, and he came to your shop and did a podcast on, is it Torch Talk?
Torch Tales.
Torch Tales, yeah.
Yeah, Torch Tales. So yeah, he was actually in town for something. It's in an area called Seven Springs up here. It's some sort of, it's like a acronym for something. I don't know the name of it, but yeah, he basically, my house was halfway in between the airport and where he needed to go. So he's like, "Hey, I come by for lunch. Let's do an interview. Let's go hang out." All right.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
I'm in one of the states he hasn't been to yet, Nebraska. So one of the very few, I think there's like 4 states or something he hasn't been to.
Oh,
or he
okay.
just checked another one off the list. And so when he comes to Nebraska, he better reach out. Yeah.
He'll definitely, cool yeah, he loves doing that kind of stuff. It seems like it's just for fun. Like he just enjoys doing it. So I'm sure when he's in, he'll be coming soon. I'm sure he's all over. He's like, all over. It's crazy.
I have him on LinkedIn. Like last week he's in Hawaii for the Gata show, and now he's in, I think, Florida.
All over.
Yeah.
He travels a ton.
Yeah.
So that's been a fun experience working with them. All around, like the whole company of JonnySWeld, Frankie, Torch Tales, all of that, similar to Edge, like similar concept. It's like family kind of oriented, like real tight knit. Happy to be part of it all, and even in a little way, just kind of be involved in it.
Right, and they've got a cool Fab Tech booth. Like last year, they had the putting competition. I could not win that, but
I didn't even get close.
Nobody spread this out of here, but they gave me a prize anyways after my 4 day trying.
They give you like, here's a tip cleaner, dude. Like, get out of here, kid.
Just get the heck out of our booth, please.
Go practice some golf somewhere else.
I was so close one day, and the same with friggin' Pipeliners Cloud. They had the putt golf thing too, and I couldn't make it. I tried every day, and they got cool hats. I just wanted the Trump on a dollar bill hat. So there was when I was putting my last day, there was a group of welding engineering students. There was three kids and one guy, like an older guy, and I was thinking it was his teacher. I was like, "Hey man, are you the teacher? Like, where do you teach at?" And he was like, "I'm a welding engineering student too." And I was like, "Oh, I gotta go." But he was way older than those kids, so I just figured like, "Oh, they're here with their teacher."
That's so funny. I guess it goes to show never too old to learn something new.
Right.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows you too how diverse FabTech is. I mean, there's anybody and everybody there. Like you wouldn't expect them to be in this industry.
Absolutely amazing. Like the things that are accomplished there.
Yeah.
What you can learn and who you can meet, like, and everything in between.
And it's like enough people to fill a stadium, like a college football stadium. Go to that. It's insane.
Insane. Andrew, are you going this year
to FabTech? Oh yeah, I'm an hour and a half north is where I live at. So
okay,
so
real close.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, so I live in Florida. I was born and raised there. So I'm not even an hour and 15 minutes north of Orlando. So I'm gonna be there.
I look forward to seeing you again then.
Oh dude, I'm so excited. Yeah.
Last time was Atlanta, I think.
Yeah, last time was Atlanta, so it's been a little while. So I'm real excited to see you and see everybody else on the Edge Army and everybody at Everlast. So it's gonna be a good time. I'm really looking forward to it.
Good, me too. Me too.
In Atlanta, me and Andrew, neither of us were 21, right? So actually, it was the same thing in Chicago. That's why I ended up staying on the couch at your Airbnb. And
which you're like, I can't get a place.
Yeah,
actually, that was a lot of fun. We got an Airbnb. It was in a sketchy neighborhood, but it was nice and big. It was cheap. Plenty of room for all of us to stay. James from SSP stayed with us. Right. Bryn stayed, and it worked out well. Yeah.
Like, every morning we'd walk next door to get McDonald's, and I had a feeling I was going to get robbed every time.
That's why it was cheap.
We made it out.
Yeah. It was cool though. It was good. That was a nice Airbnb.
No, Orlando seems to keep it pretty clean. Atlanta's just bad. That's just how it is. Atlanta's bad. And so is Chicago sometimes. So
you drove up to Atlanta. You picked me up at the airport, and then first off, this guy picks me up from the airport. No shoes, no socks. I think he was wearing swimming trunks, but he had an ankle holster on. Picks me up from the airport. That was hilarious.
Yep. Hey man, it was a long drive. I ain't driving with tennis shoes on. Come on. We wear flip flops around here.
You didn't even have flip flops on.
They were under the seat. We don't wear them while we drive.
Yeah, come on, Bryn.
They're just there. If I get pulled over, I can pull the flip flops out and do my thing.
Yeah, that was funny. And back to what I was saying is neither me or Andrew were 21, so I'm calling I probably called every hotel in the city 3 times. And, man, of course, the only one that would take anybody under 21 was, like, the most expensive one. It was, like, $450 a night or something.
Yep.
And we stayed there. Yeah, and we stayed there for a while. But, it was a nice hotel. We walked in, and we looked like, I don't even know.
We were out of place.
We were definitely out of place. It was cool though. They had a Chick-fil-A and a shopping mall on the second floor.
Oh wow!
It was crazy. But FabTech Chicago, I was doing the same thing, and then I did end up finding one, but it was also expensive, and I didn't have Andrew to split it with. So that's why I stayed on the couch, and then you guys left one day before me, so I stayed at that hotel. It was like a boutique hotel in the city, and I was so done with FabTech. I stayed in there for I think like 30 hours. Didn't leave.
Done.
Yeah,
You need some time to like recoup.
Right. I DoorDashed food to my hotel room, like
sweet.
And I just sat looking out the window the entire time.
Just burn out.
Yeah, FabTech does that to you, and your feet too. You got to wear comfortable shoes.
Especially like when we're going, because we go nonstop. We're at the Edge booth, the Everlast booth, and we're like, just like go. I feel like we don't stop, and then walking around, and then after parties, and then hanging out afterwards, after the after parties. It's like a 16-hour day or something. Oh yeah,
longer.
A little bit of sleep in there. Yeah, we were going to bed late, waking up really early too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah. That was a cool Airbnb though, and it really helped that we had James to drive us around as well.
That was a big help.
Yeah, and then we would all cram in there. I remember that. But yeah, it was definitely nice.
Good times.
So now though, you've got Edge. You're on the Edge Army. You've got JonnySWeld.
Yep.
Now Team ESOB.
Yeah. So that
big
is
congratulations, man. Big
you.
congratulations.
You've been putting in work forever, networking and promoting their products free for a while, but that's how it goes,
yeah.
Yeah.
So they were when I first started welding, I used like old machines just to get going where I needed to go, and then as I started my business, I realized that I needed machines that were reliable. So I'm reliable, and then I need machines that are reliable for my customers. Like that was an important part. I needed basically I needed to buy brand new machines because I wanted warranties and I wanted to make sure it would work. So I don't have a ton of money, so obviously my research was like really in depth on what I wanted to buy. Right. So I wanted to make sure I was getting the most out of what I was buying, and basically boiled down to getting like an ESAB Rebel, and then also Miller Bobcat were the two that I was like, all right, these two machines will get me will help my business like flourish, and they did. Both were great. So ESAB, pretty much since I've been starting welding, they've been something that I've been using and tagging and bugging and asking questions, and you know how that goes.
Yeah.
But so I've been using their stuff for a while, and then I get FabTech every time I went. Made sure I'd meet them. I went in the booths, chatted with them, met as many people as I could. Just got familiar with them, and it's been fun. Regardless of being on the team, I'm a huge fan, and I love the products, and I love just dealing with them, and everything that I've dealt with in the past has been great. So just being on the team is just an added perk to already what I was doing.
And that's a very exclusive team.
Yeah, that's pretty big. When they, yeah, yeah. I'm still kind of waiting for someone to pop out and be like, just kidding. Gotcha.
Was it a phone call or an email?
It was an email.
What was
they emailed me. I was like, wait, I got to read this again. Wait a minute. Hold on. And then I read it. I'm like, wow, that's what? I had to take a break for a minute, put my phone down. I was like, all right, hold on. I need to regroup for a second because it's pretty big. It's a pretty big sponsorship and partnership,
Yeah,
it's huge.
A lot of people don't realize the work that you've put into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that isn't necessarily out in the public eye, or even just one account. It's multiple accounts and multiple sharing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's been years. It's pretty much since I started welding. So yeah, it's been very consistent.
And the networking at FabTech, seriously, every day. Oh, where's Johnny? I go check the ESAB booth.
Yeah, they're doing a giveaway. I'm going over there.
And you ran the Volt there too, right?
Yeah, so that was my main mission this last year at FabTech was go to the ESAB booth, run the Volt. I physically wanted to use it. I've seen a bunch of stuff on it. That's the battery operated welder for anyone listening. It runs off of DeWalt battery. It's pretty sweet. And I really want to weld with this. I got to see it for myself. And it was awesome. It ran. I never would know if it was running off of power from the wall or battery. It was just perfect. So that was awesome to see. And then towards the end of the day, you go and you do things where you enter your name into drawings to be able to win stuff.
Oh.
And I was walking. We were done at FabTech. I was leaving, and I happened to be walking right by the booth, and they were doing the drawing, and they basically dug in a big bucket and they pulled out a ticket. And they're like, "Oh, congratulations for winning the ESAB Volt, Johnny Snyder." And I'm like, "What the heck? How did I just? That's amazing!" So that was before. That was obviously before the sponsorship and all that kind of stuff. But that was an amazing win, and that's the power right there. As we're saying, is going to these booths, FabTech. I mean, if you show up and you're active in these places, you're gonna get something out of it. Whether it's meeting new people or getting some new machinery or something. So much potential, all just waiting for you. But yeah, Andrew, so that was cool.
Andrew, when you graduated college, do you remember what I yelled?
No, but it's in a video somewhere, and I know I can find the video.
I just sent it to the Edge Army group chat. It was I go, yeah. Just long, loud, yeah. And I'm alone in the middle of this the arena. Nobody came with me. Nobody's sitting around me, and I'm just screaming, yeah. So everybody's looking at me.
I think people in the parking lot could hear you.
Because I was walking up the stage, and while I'm walking up, my family's behind me. I heard them, and then I heard a lone voice up in the second deck or something. I'm like, oh, that must be Bryn.
So that's the same, yeah, that I did when Johnny won the the east side bolt.
Like, very
Everybody's like,
distinct.
dude, shut up.
Whoa. I think the entire Fab Tech heard you. Like, heck yeah, I want to hear more of that. Yeah, every Fab Tech, I want to hear that.
It's so funny because Johnny was recording the announcement of the giveaway, and then he ended up winning it. So it's like, no,
It's like,
he can't turn the camera on himself or nothing.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and then in the video you can hear the
Solid. Very distinct.
Yeah, everybody went wild there though. That was huge.
Oh yeah, that was a big one.
Everybody turned to you like, dude, it was perfect.
I was like, wait, what the heck?
Yeah,
no way.
yeah, we were.
Yeah, no way.
So Johnny, what drove your move from California to old Pennsylvania? What made you want to do that?
That's a great question. I get asked that very often here. Everyone thinks I'm crazy for moving from California to Pittsburgh.
I don't think you're crazy for leaving California, but
so at the time I was getting married. I lived in California. I was getting married. I know I wanted to have kids down the line and all that kind of stuff. And my wife and I, it was just too expensive to live there, like the way we wanted to live. You know, apartments were super expensive. We wanted to buy a house, and at the time, just way too expensive, like 11, 12 years ago. And the only option was to move out of state. Or become like a lawyer or a doctor, and that wasn't going to happen. So, so pretty much we decided to go to, we traveled a little bit. So we would go on like little vacations to different states and kind of just, see some friends, but also kind of gauge, is this somewhere where we would want to live? And I have family here in Pittsburgh, and she has family in New York. So New York obviously is super expensive to live. So we decided that Pittsburgh might be a good alternative because we can go to New York like whenever we wanted, on a weekend or something like that. So we pretty much, our honeymoon was driving from California to Pittsburgh, and we took like somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks to drive across. So anything that we saw was fun, like the world's biggest salt and pepper shakers. We're like, we're going,
taking that exit. Yep, we're going there.
And so our map literally went like this. It was not a straight line at all. So we would find like a brewery or distillery, like, oh, we're going there, let's go check it out. And we had nothing planned actually, it could have taken us a month or two. We had no jobs lined up. We had nothing. So yeah, a couple weeks, just drove. And at any point we liked the place good enough, as good as we thought Pittsburgh would be, then we could just stay there. We're like, we had all of our stuff in our car. So it's like, we ended up in a state that we really liked. We're like, we'll just stay here. But we ended up making it to Pittsburgh, and now we're here. We have some family around, which is pretty cool. But obviously, we've liked it enough to stay. It's a definitely good area. So,
well, actually, let me go back. Maybe this might have been about the time that you were in California in 2009. Were you in a band called the Belts?
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yes, I was a drummer in just a crappy punk band. Like nothing fancy. We just played like, little hole in the wall bars, and like we played a skate park or a skate shop once and stuff like that. But it was fun. I was the drummer. We just had a lot of fun. Actually, we had more fun practicing than we ever did playing. I mean, playing was fun, but practicing was like the best.
Right, because you built 2 rooms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're digging.
Yeah.
You're digging through some stuff to get to that. Yeah, so we at the time, let me think for a second. At the time, I had I co-owned a screen printing shop. So my brother and I co-owned a screen printing shop. We were printing merch for a lot of bands, like a lot of local bands. We did a lot of their merch. Like it was pretty cool. The biggest band that I remember printing was a band called Fuel, which is on the radio and stuff like that. If you know the band, we'll look them up. So we were printing for them, and like a ton of punk bands and indie bands and hardcore bands and all that. We that was our like bread and butter. But at the same time, we had a 2,000 square foot warehouse, and we decided to build a room. So I built like a 10 by 10 room. That was our practice space. So we just did whatever we wanted there. The walls, to soundproof it, we just got old test print T-shirts and just stapled them to the wall all over the place. So it was like a big cave. It was actually pretty cool. So once we went in there, this is our thing, we'd all go by 40s. So we'd have our 40s. I would do like Mickey's, someone else would Old English, whatever. And we'd go in there, we'd shut the door, and we would just be rocking out for hours, just jamming. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is
So
cool.
yeah.
So you and your brother started the screen printing business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you guys have a background in it, or what made you choose screen printing?
It was kind of like a chain of events that led to that. We were kind of like always entrepreneurs, kind of trying to start little businesses and things like that. We were really big into skateboarding, so we're going back even further. We're really big into skateboarding growing up, and we decided to start a clothing line amongst other like little business ventures. So a clothing line started out as we cut stencils out of wood, and then we put them on a t-shirt and we spray painted designs on there. So then we would sell like 2 t-shirts. We're like, yes, we made it. We sold 2 t-shirts. Let's make 50. And then we would just wear our own t-shirts, whatever. And then that led to advancing our skill set for the clothing line. And that was like, well, to do it better, we need to be able to screen print. So then we bought a screen, and we were like literally in our bedroom. We shared a room at the time. We were still pretty young. We would like screen print in our bedroom. We made like a shirt. We're like, wow, this is kind of cool. And then we ended up getting an order for some shirts. Completely ruined the whole order. But aside from that, we got an order, and we were like, oh, we can actually do this, not just for ourselves, but maybe for other people. And slowly advanced, and we moved into our garage, and then from there into a warehouse. And then by the end of the business, we had a 2,000 square foot warehouse. Like I said, we had all automated presses. We had employees. We had everything.
Dang.
So and then that, go ahead.
You ended up selling it, right? And it's still going.
Yeah, it's still going. Yeah. So we sold it to move. So my brother wanted to go his direction. I ended up going my direction. We both ended up in Pittsburgh, which is funny. So he's in Pittsburgh as well. We'll get to him in a second. It's for too many avenues here, but the guy who bought it was doing the same thing. He was in his garage and needed to advance. And he printed for a lot of bands as well. So we were kind of printing for some similar people or the same industry. So when he acquired the business, he just ran with it, and it worked really well. So it's still to this day, amazing print shop.
Does he still own that same warehouse?
They actually upgraded in the same business complex, but I think doubled their space. So they're another 3,000 or 4,000 square feet.
Huh,
it's cool. It's called No Division. If anyone needs some shirts made, they're legit. Yeah,
that was the name when you had it too, right?
Yeah, so they just kept the name.
Yeah. I was gonna capital N's. Right?
Yeah.
On the sign.
Capital N. Yep. No division. N at the end.
Yeah.
So now, just long story short, my brother now owns a paper printing company in Pittsburgh called PGH Print Ship. So he no more t-shirts, but now he realized that the paper side was a little bit more his bread and butter and like what he enjoyed doing, like fine art prints and things like that. So. And
he's still running it.
So running it. Yeah.
Kind of the same industry.
Yeah. So similar industries to what we were doing in the print shop. He kind of stuck with it. I was burnt out. No more t-shirts for me. No more. I'll make my own. I'll make mine, and that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No more.
He's got some stickers on my box.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. I send those out to everybody, so I'm sure a lot of you have them.
Yeah. What was your first fab tech?
2019.
In Chicago?
2019 in Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, and then
2019.
2020 they shut down for COVID, right?
Yeah, if they missed 1 year. Yeah, and then ever since, I've been to all of them since 2019 on. Other than the one, obviously if they didn't have COVID, I didn't go to that one. But yeah. Huh. Heck yeah, and it never gets old. Like every time I go, I'm just as excited as the first day.
Was it Chicago?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I had no idea what to expect there. And I definitely didn't expect it to be that big. When me and Andrew first got there in Atlanta, it was insane.
It's huge. I mean, there's just too much to see. I mean, now I think we know, kind of what we want to see and what else we can filter out. But it was crazy for the first time seeing it all. It was really cool.
Yeah. It's like one day you just need to be able to just be there and not look for anything. Get your bearings on everything, and then the next day actually pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah.
That first year in Atlanta, dude, I had to throw some stuff out at the airport. Like, I had so many grinding discs. I still have grinding discs from 2 years ago from Atlanta FabTech.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
It was insane. And then Pearl
you
sent
can almost
me,
stock up for the year.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
well,
Yeah.
Pearl Abrasive sent me 10 chop saw discs. And
Wow.
You gave me some, dude.
Yeah.
I still haven't used them all.
yeah. And then it was like 250 grinding discs, and
Wow,
yeah, it was insane.
hooking it up.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
like 40 from the show that I had to throw out, some of them. It was
Dang.
nuts. The freebies there, they were crazy my first year because I was going for them. But
Oh, yeah.
You were gunning for
yeah,
all the
but this
freebies.
past time I didn't, because you know, it's also nice having stuff to do there now, because that first time it was like, okay, I'm just here, like I'm nobody. And then the second year,
Yeah.
like Edge and Everlast had me doing stuff, so that kind of made it a little bit more I don't know, it felt more natural instead of just walking around.
It gives you like a purpose. Like learning and stuff like that is great when you're there, but now when you're there, it changes the perspective because you're there, I guess, for work
Right.
in a sense, but there to accomplish something. And
Yeah.
it definitely gives you a little bit more motivation to keep going. Like we said earlier, it's like your 12-hour days there are well worth it.
Yeah, and
No.
they do go fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yeah.
as soon as I get back from FabTech, I'm like, man, I can't wait for FabTech next year.
Yes.
I'm really
Yes.
excited for Orlando, though. That'll be sweet.
I think this could be a blast.
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I really can't wait.
Johnny, what's the favorite project that you've ever had the pleasure of working on?
That's a good question. I really like, not art related, just welding related and fabrication. I really like not just one project, but repairing broken stuff to be utilized in its original form. So like a chair, or chair is a good one. It's going to be trashed. I can repair it and put it right back where it was going to be and have it be used for another 10 years. So that is like a super rewarding process. Is just to like save a landfill, kind of save it from, having to buy more. It helps the customer and it gives me some work to do. Those are always like my favorite jobs that come through.
That's actually a really good point. I mean, I've never really thought of that. I welded, so my girlfriend's sister is a teacher, as an elementary teacher, right? And she's got all these little stools, but the same part on every one was cracked. So I welded them, I took them to the school to weld them, and I didn't take the cushion off because I was like, well, if I can just ground it to one of the legs, I don't need to take the cushion off. But I was welding close to the cushion because I didn't want it to arc out or nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And the friggin' cushion caught on fire.
Oh, oops.
It made the whole shop smell like crap. But yeah, no, that's
Burnt
actually a really
plastic.
good point.
Yeah.
I never thought about that when repairing stuff. Like my dad's lawnmower deck. I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that.
And then you're not only saving thousands of dollars or, possibility of that much, but also the hassle of going buying a new one, or just dealing with it. And is it going to fit? Is it not? Like with these chairs, and I keep bringing those up because I just get so many of them. Not like 100 a day, but
Yeah.
quite often is if one chair breaks of like a set of 10, then you're out one, you're not going to find that one again, or
Yeah.
very hard to find that replica of that. So it's either buy a whole new set or just have one less. And I'm able to bridge the gap between that and just fix it. And also none of the weld shops around here will touch that kind of work.
Right.
They're all too big. Like they don't have time for that stuff. So if that's where I fit in to like the welding industry, then I will gladly accept that.
Here's just a friendly reminder. Your anniversary is next month.
Oh, thank you.
Just go ahead and put it on the back of your hand. Bryn said.
Thank you.
Your
I'm
13th,
absolutely terrible. Yeah, that sounds about right. Thank you. If you could just send me a text, that'd be great. Like the morning of. Perfect.
I think it's June 16th or something. I don't remember the exact day. But
Let's just stop right there because I'm going to get in trouble if my wife watches this. And any further. I'll remember the weirdest things. I'll remember like something welding related that happened at the very beginning, like what machine I used, what rods I used, all this kind of stuff. But when it comes to dates, I'm terrible with it.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Terrible.
Yep. So Johnny, I mean, you're a pretty do-it-yourself guy, and it seems that you used to do your own beer back in 2012.
Yeah.
So what's the closest it tastes to? Is it like a PBR or a Coors Light, or what were we trying to make?
Going for the beer, huh? All right, I gotta dig in the archives for a second. Hold on.
All right.
Yeah. So my buddy and I started brewing beer. Just we enjoy drinking it. Why not make your own?
Absolutely.
We liked really really hoppy beer, like
Okay.
as hoppy as you can get it. So we decided to make our own. Like, why not? So it was kind of like a double IPA, like real thick, real hoppy, and got to the point where I grew hops in my yard, and we were
Oh my god.
we had this giant hop plant because they take off like a weed, like they just go nuts. So I'm literally harvesting hops in my yard. It's called dry wet hopping, I think is what it was called. So you put like just fresh hops right into the beer, let it do its thing. And it was cool. It was a fun process to learn how to do it, how it ferments and all that kind of stuff. And then also the fresh hop side of it, learning how that interacts with the beers and all that kind of stuff. So
did you have a name for it?
Yeah, it's called Fresh Powder Brewing is what we were thinking. And we were actually we liked it enough that we were contemplating on doing it part-time, full-time. That was before welding. At that time I was working for Coca-Cola I was working in like their warehouse and stuff like that. So, it was cool. It's fun.
That's fun. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a cool process. A lot of learning, like just a whole new process of learning how to do things.
You know a lot about some random stuff, dude.
Yes.
He grew his own hops in his backyard, dude. Yeah. That is ultimate. That is really cool.
I'd just crack a beer open, and then I would just literally, pour in a glass. I'll go out, grab like a handful of hops, and just drop them straight in, and just like enjoy it. It was great. Yeah, it was a fun experience.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Sober.
I'm glad I don't do it anymore. It was fun, but I think it was fun for the time, but I don't think I could have done it long term. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Looking back on it.
Aside from that, Coke, the print shop, what else did you do for a living?
For a living, I worked at a grocery store.
Me too.
Like bagging groceries, and I worked in the meat department for a while. I learned a lot of skills at a young age there. It was like every job along the way, I'm kind of taking little bits of information and I piece them all together to where I'm at now, which is pretty cool to kind of see it all be used in one like entity.
That seems to be like a similar trend between welders because Dabs Wellington, he was saying the same thing. Like he was in photography and journalism.
Oh yeah.
And used that to get to record.
And that shows for sure.
Yeah.
His videography, his photos, everything is like on point.
Yeah. And
probably not a lot of spelling errors. Guilty. But yeah, so yeah, it's just learning a lot of stuff along the way. I mean, my mom had my brother and I doing work at a very young age, like helping out businesses. Like I never got paid, or I don't know who got the money from it, but we would work. We worked at like a vitamin place where it was like an assembly line, and like the bottles would be coming on a track, and you would drop like a plastic piece on top. It would go through a heater, and then it would shrink around it, shrink wrap or shrink plastic. And so we would like at a young age doing those, working like a little assembly line. I think it was more for like job experience and just kind of get out of the house and kind of learn something new. I'm not sure exactly why we ended up doing it, but then I worked for an exterminator for a little bit of time, also at a young age, just more to like just learn.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were always learning something new. Yeah, and it just continued.
For every job you accept, how many would you say you turn down?
Welding, right?
Yeah.
Probably for every one I accept, I turn down 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of capacity or?
A combination of things, either it's just out of my realm. I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not. And if it's something that I know someone could do better around the area, I will refer them to them.
Do you have a lot of referrals as well from other shops?
I get a couple here and there from other shops and other welders around here. I feel like I'm giving out more than I'm receiving, but I do a lot of like Google, not advertising, but just my Google page is really good. My social media presence is higher than a lot of people around here. Right. So if like you search like for a welder in my area, I'm going to come up, if not first, really close to the top. and chances are they'll just call me first. And then I kind of utilize that to be able to pick through the jobs that I want. So if the job I like, I'll take it. And if it's something that either I don't want or someone else can do better, then I have a list of numbers and a list of people that I'm like, oh, they are really good at this. I'll just give them their number and just direct them to them. Yeah. So yeah, I'd say 1 out of 3 that I actually take.
And do you think word of mouth, business cards, what do you think is your most popular kind of advertising or marketing that has gotten you the most jobs?
Well, they're all important. I'm going to throw that out there. They're all important in some way. Every little area is a little bit different on who's going to be better or which could be better. But Google is, I think, my number 1.
Really?
Like just straight up Google. Yeah, because especially when you need something repaired, like you don't have time to be kind of like finding out where a welder is. You just go on, I need a welder. I need one right now. And what's going to come up?
And
so
how do you get your company to the top of that search?
Other than just getting good reviews and having the correct information on there is key.
I gotcha.
Like, the right phone number, as much information as you can put on there that is correct, and updating it often, once a month, at least once a month, updating something on there.
I gotcha.
Because you'll go to a page, you'll go to like a restaurant, like last update 3 years ago, and you're like, 3 years ago, like, are they even active? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So if you saw one that was updated, 5 days ago, you might be a little bit more open to choosing that just because they're a little bit more active on there.
Right.
So,
well, we got about an hour of good footage. Here's something I ask every guest. What's your favorite genre of music to listen to while you work or weld?
It's a very good question. It is all over the place. It's a little bit of everything. I feel like punk is a good one. Just gets you going, gets you moving. A lot of like hip hop and rap I'll throw in there, and I throw them all together. So it's not just like all punk or all like hip hop, but they'll just be mixed one then the other. And then, yeah, some rock, but mostly like punk and hip hop. I'm going to say are my top two.
For everybody listening, Johnny actually has a playlist on Spotify with people, welders in bands or welders that are musical artists as well. And we'll put that in the show notes. Go listen to that. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, Johnny. We really appreciate it. Everybody listening, thank you for starting your week off right with the Iron Insight every Monday morning at 4 a.m. Everlast link in the show notes for the upgraded Nova Torch and pedal package. Free of additional charge worth $100 value. And Edge Welding Cups code BrynWelds15 and the link in the show notes will get you 15% off. I've been Bryn Welds.
And I am Andrew Nichols with Southern Leather Works. Go over to southernleatherworks.net to get all custom welding hoods and leather products. Mr. Johnny, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate you taking the time to do this, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Sounds good. Thank you guys for having me.